Here we are in the Week 1 Assignments folder, due April 2nd. For this week's reading in the textbook, you're going to read the introduction on the origins of type and typography, and also Chapter 1 about the 19th century. You may want to have a look at some of the e-lectures this week that I've prepared. I prepared a lecture on art and design and the difference between those two. There's a very important difference. People, I think, often confuse art and design, but they have very different purposes. So be sure to read that little lecture on the difference between art and design. There's also a brief lecture on the history of typefaces. Also, the textbook covers William Morris this week, and he was not only a great typeface designer and book designer, he was also an architect, textile designer, a writer, and even a socialist. And this article is about some of his textile designs, many of which are still produced today and used in home interiors. Also, there's a brief lecture on Lydia Pinkham advertisements. She was a middle-aged housewife during the 19th century in America and created some really interesting ads for her products. This week, you'll introduce yourself to the class on the discussion board, talk a little bit about yourself while you're taking this class, and just click that link there, and that'll take you into this week's forum where you can add your post. And this week, you'll work on your first bibliography and design in context assignment. You're going to select a work of graphic design, which can be a poster, a magazine cover, a logo, a typeface, just about anything that is graphic design, that is discussed in this week's reading maybe, or related to that historical period in this week's reading, but it's not illustrated in the book. So find something that's related to the reading this week, but not in the textbook. And then you're going to write a brief essay, a few paragraphs about your topic, using the guidelines you see here. You're going to create a bibliography for your example, and you need to include at least one book, one journal article, and one web link. You're certainly free to add more if you like. And then you're going to use these questions, the creative brief questions, to write your little essay. You may not know all of the answers, but try to speculate about them. Of course, you'll include the designer's name, the title of the work, and so on. And then you're going to place this work of graphic design within the context of its time. You're going to find some kind of historical connection with this example of graphic design that you found. It can be maybe an example of music that was popular at the same time, maybe a film that came out during the same time, maybe some kind of political event that happened at the time. And that will help you put it in context. And then, of course, respond to some of your other classmates' posts. So there's that bibliography and design in context assignment. And again, just click that link there, and that will take you into the discussion board where you can post your assignment. You'll begin this week working on the conceptual phase of your museum exhibition project. The project is due at the end of the semester, May 21st, but this phase is actually due next week, April 9th. So be sure to read this overview of what a museum exhibition is about. You're going to select a topic and write a little overview about it. It doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't need to be really more than one page, but you should include some of these considerations so that you understand what the exhibition is about. So be sure to include some of these considerations in your topic and overview. And be sure to have a look at some of these links, which are very good examples of museum exhibition overviews. So these are all links to various museum exhibitions, and you'll see that they're not very long usually. That one's just a paragraph or so. Some are longer than others, but be sure to have a look at those so that you get a good idea of what you'll need to include and how it should read. So be sure to have a look at those links. And then, again, you'll be turning this in next week, so you have actually 2 weeks to work on it. But you'll begin working on it this week. And I've also included a bibliography of links to topics that are covered in this week's reading for additional information if you'd like. So that's this week's assignment. If you have any questions, be sure to email me. So I hope you have fun with the assignment.